Politics can be unpredictable, but sometimes the best strategy isn't to fight, it's to step aside and let the other side trip over their own feet. That's exactly what veteran Democratic strategist James Carville is saying to his party right now. His advice? Don't interfere while your opponents are making fools of themselves. And if you've followed politics lately, you might see exactly what he means. Carville, known for his blunt and unfiltered takes, has spent decades shaping Democratic campaigns. He's been through the ups and downs, the victories and the losses. And when he speaks, people listen. But this time, his message isn't about attacking the opposition. It's about watching and waiting. Because according to him, Republicans are doing a fine job of unraveling all on their own. The key for Democrats: just don't get in the way. But what exactly is he referring to? Over the past few months, we've seen plenty of chaos unfold: internal party struggles, extreme positions that alienate voters, and public missteps that dominate the news cycle. Carville sees all of this and says, let them have the spotlight. Let them expose themselves. Why give them an enemy to rally against when they're already in the middle of their own mess? This strategy isn't about being passive, it's about being smart. Politics, after all, isn't just about who speaks the loudest. It's about who controls the narrative. And right now, Carville believes the best move for Democrats is to let the GOP's self-inflicted wounds take center stage. But is he right? Could stepping back actually be the winning move? Or is there a risk that silence could come across as weakness? As we dive deeper into this story, we'll look at the moments that led Carville to this conclusion. We'll break down the biggest blunders, the internal fractures, and the public missteps that are making headlines. And most importantly, we'll ask the question, will this hands-off approach pay off for Democrats in the long run? Or is there a turning point where they'll need to step in and take control of the conversation? One thing's for sure, politics is never dull, and in the coming weeks, things are only going to heat up. Stay tuned as we unpack it all. For years, James Carville has been known for his sharp political instincts. He helped Bill Clinton win the presidency in 1992 with a message that cut through the noise. It's the economy, stupid. But now, decades later, he's watching the political landscape shift again. And this time, he sees an opportunity not in attacking, but in stepping back. And if you've been paying attention, you might understand why. The Republican Party is facing internal battles that are playing out in front of the entire country. Factions are clashing, priorities are shifting, and high-profile figures are struggling to keep their narratives straight. Some are pushing extreme policies that alienate moderate voters, while others are scrambling to maintain control of their own party. It's chaos, and Carville knows that sometimes the best move is to let the opposition sink itself. We've seen this happen before. Political parties have unraveled under the weight of their own divisions. Public missteps, leadership struggles, and tone-deaf messaging can do more damage than any opponent ever could. And right now, some Republicans are walking straight into that trap. Controversial statements are going viral for all the wrong reasons. Policy proposals are backfiring, and internal fighting is spilling out into the public eye. It's a mess, one that Carville believes Democrats don't need to interfere with. But here's the big question: will Democrats actually listen? In politics, the instinct is often to respond, to push back, to stay in the fight. But what if that fight isn't necessary? What if engaging only gives the opposition something to rally against? Carville's argument isn't about being silent forever. It's about choosing battles wisely. And right now, he's saying the best battle might be no battle at all. Yet not everyone in the Democratic Party is convinced. Some believe they need to counter every claim, challenge every false narrative, and keep their presence strong in the conversation. Others worry that staying quiet could make them look weak or disengaged. It's a debate that's growing within the party, and the outcome could shape how they approach the next election. As the political landscape keeps shifting, the stakes couldn't be higher. The next few months will tell us whether Carville's strategy is the right one, or if Democrats will decide they can't afford to just sit and watch. Either way, one thing is certain: the chaos isn't over yet, and the decisions made now will have consequences that reach far beyond the next news cycle. As the weeks pass, the tension inside both parties only grows stronger. For Democrats, the question remains, yet not everyone in the Democratic Party is convinced. Some believe they need to counter every claim, challenge every false narrative, and keep their presence strong in the conversation. Others worry that staying quiet could make them look weak or disengaged. It's a debate that's growing within the party, and the outcome could shape how they approach the next election. As the political landscape keeps shifting, the stakes couldn't be higher. The next few months will tell us whether Carville's strategy is the right one, or if Democrats will decide they can't afford to just sit and watch. Either way, one thing is certain: the chaos isn't over yet, and the decisions made now will have consequences that reach far beyond the next news cycle. As the weeks pass, the tension inside both parties only grows stronger. For Democrats, the question remains: should they follow Carville's advice and let the GOP's internal struggles play out on their own? Or should they step in before the chaos settles and their opponents find a way to regain control? The debate is playing out behind closed doors and in public statements, with different factions of the party offering conflicting views on how to handle the situation. Some Democrats see Carville's point clearly. The Republican Party is already in disarray, with key figures contradicting each other, leadership struggling to maintain order, and unpopular policies causing backlash. High-profile blunders are dominating the headlines, leaving voters confused and frustrated. If Democrats interfere now, they risk giving their opponents a new target, a common enemy to unite against. Letting the opposition collapse under its own weight might be the smartest move. But not everyone is convinced. Others argue that staying quiet is too big a risk. Some believe that if Democrats don't actively shape the narrative, voters might forget about their alternative vision. They worry that political attention spans are short, and that waiting too long could allow Republicans to regain their footing. If Democrats don't present a clear message, some fear that frustration with the GOP could turn into general disillusionment with both parties, making it harder to mobilize voters when it matters most. Meanwhile, within the Republican Party, the fractures are becoming impossible to ignore. Some leaders are doubling down on their positions, pushing policies and rhetoric that appeal to the party's base but alienate moderates. Others are desperately trying to pull things back from the edge, fearing that the current chaos could cost them crucial elections. Public clashes, leaked internal memos, and high-profile resignations are painting a picture of a party struggling to hold itself together. The media is watching every moment, amplifying every misstep, and adding even more pressure. Poll numbers are shifting, campaign donors are getting nervous, and both parties are trying to predict what will happen next. Carville, ever the strategist, is keeping a close eye on it all. He's seen political tides turn before, and he knows that one wrong move by either party could change everything. But what will that move be? Will Democrats stay on the sidelines as Carville suggests, or will they decide to step into the fight? And if they do, will it be too soon or too late? The answers aren't clear yet, but one thing is certain: this political battle is far from over. As the political storm rages on, the stakes grow even higher. The cracks in the Republican Party are widening, and the division is no longer just behind closed doors. It's spilling out into public statements, chaotic press conferences, and bitter social media feuds. Some Republicans are openly defying their own leadership, while others are scrambling to hold things together. Every move they make seems to fuel the fire, and Democrats are watching closely, wondering if this is the moment Carville warned them about. Inside Democratic circles, the debate is reaching a boiling point. Some believe the time to strike is now, that waiting any longer could be a mistake. They see a golden opportunity to define the narrative before Republicans get a chance to recover. But others fear that stepping in too soon could backfire, giving their opponents a common enemy to rally against. The party is split not just on whether to act, but how. Should they launch a full-scale offensive, calling out the GOP's missteps at every turn? Or should they carefully pick their battles, making sure they don't become part of the very chaos that's tearing their opponents apart? The media is amplifying every development, fueling speculation about what might come next. Headlines dissect the latest Republican infighting, polling data shifts from week to week, and political analysts debate whether the GOP's internal struggles will cost them in the next election. Some voters are growing frustrated, tired of the constant drama. On the Democratic side, the leaked document creates its own set of problems. While their strategy against the GOP worked, it also revealed cracks within their own ranks. The growing divide between those who favored Carville's wait-and-watch approach and those who wanted a more aggressive stance is now out in the open. Some worry that focusing too much on Republican dysfunction left them unprepared for their own internal struggles. Others argue that this moment proves why patience was the right call. The debate may not be as explosive as what happened on the other side, but it's enough to raise questions about how unified Democrats really are heading into the next election cycle. For voters, the entire ordeal has been a whirlwind of shifting narratives, unexpected turns, and a reminder of just how unpredictable politics can be. Some are frustrated, feeling like neither party has truly addressed the issues that matter most. Others see this as a turning point, a moment when old political strategies no longer work, and new ones must take their place. And as Carville watches it all unfold, his original message still holds weight. Sometimes the best move is to step back and let the opposition self-destruct. But even he knows that politics is never that simple. The cycle never ends, and today's advantage can disappear just as quickly as it appeared. With new challenges on the horizon and another election looming, both parties are left facing the same question: what happens next? The answer remains uncertain, but one thing is undeniable. This battle may be over, but the war for political control is just beginning.